I'm Finn, this is the Horn Music Studio, and this is some tab. Let's learn something about it. So here we are at the second guitar lesson. We're just going to do a quick recap of the first lesson. Now, if you didn't see the first lesson, you can click on this link down here and that will take you off to the first lesson. That's a better place to begin than here. But if you've already done that, let's just recap on a few things. Firstly, the parts of the guitar. This big bit down the end here, this is called the body. This is where the sound comes out. If you've got an acoustic guitar, you'd have a sound hole to let the sound come out. Then there's this long straight bit here called the neck. And at the top here, you've got the head with the tuning pegs, machine heads, tuning keys, whatever you want to call them. And the strings, they come from the tuning pegs up there all the way down to the bridge at this end. And on the front here, we have the fretboard with all the metal frets that go across all the strings. You remember the phrase, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie? That was to tell us what notes each of these strings is tuned to. This is one at the bottom, E, then A, then D, then G, B, and E again up at the top. Make sure that your guitar is in tune, and we'll do another lesson about that, probably lesson 3, where we'll just look at how to tune our guitars and the things that we can use to do that. Did you have a go at playing those chords? Remember there was an E chord that was this shape. There was an A chord like this, strumming only the top 5 strings, and a D chord, strumming only the top 4 strings. Remember we looked at going through the chords one after another, trying to change between them as quickly as possible, dropping your hands down, shaking them, putting it back on, finding that chord again, dropping it down, putting the chord back on again. Just different ways of getting it quicker to find those chords. Make sure when you're playing that you're sitting up straight, that the guitar's against your body, that the neck is level with the floor, that your arm is, that the guitar's in the crook of your arm and you're strumming over the sound hole, that's that bit, and that your hand here is just not supporting the guitar, but just kind of wrapped around it a bit so that your fingers are pointing inwards into the strings. So in this lesson we're going to look at playing just one string at a time, just some notes on those strings. Again, as with the last one, we'll be using our pick for this lesson, and if you hold it, like I said, with 2 fingers on one side, if you hold it with your thumb on one side and your first and second finger on the other side, that will just hold it nicely in there. You don't have to grip it really tight or anything. And we're going to be just plucking single strings, so it is worth, just to make sure you're not kind of hovering around and picking the wrong string, you can use your little finger against the body of the guitar just to make an anchor point, so you can sit and pick the same string over and over again. Even if you kind of go off over here, you come back, pick the same string, because your hand's not moving all over the place. That's this hand. This hand is going to be using just one finger. We will be doing it with multiple fingers eventually, but we're just going to be doing it with one finger. Let's do it with the first finger, which is this one, and making sure that the string is touching right at the tip of your finger there, in the kind of fleshy end between where your fingerprints are and your nails are, right in there. If you kind of hold up your finger in front of yourself and push a pick into the very end, you'll see a line where the string should be going. So the song we're going to be looking at today is Mary Had a Little Lamb. What could be more rock and roll than that? It's also known as Merrily We Roll Along, and probably 100 other names. And we're going to be using the B string for this. Usually you might find you'd start with the top E string, but it's quite easy to slip off the string, so we're going in one string so you've got plenty of fretboard to work with. To play this song, we're going to be using what's called tab notation. Now, there are a couple of types of notation, and we'll be looking at both of them in the long run, but we're just going to look at tab this week. And notation is simply a way of writing down music. And this is a sheet with some songs written out in tab, and you can get this PDF in the description of this video below. So in tab notation, we have 6 lines going horizontally across the page, and these each represent a string. The top line represents the high E string, and the bottom line represents the low E string. And then all the ones in between are the ones you'd expect them to be in between. Then there's numbers that appear as well. Now, a 0, when it says 0, that means you're not using any frets at all, so it's just an open string. So if it was an O on the second line down, that would be an open string B, and it would sound like this. Just a B, an open B string. Other numbers, they can be 1 through to 22, depending on how many frets you've got on your guitar. Those numbers represent the frets. So if there's a number 2 on the B string, you'd be playing the second fret on the B string, and it would make this sound. So we've gone from open string, 0, to 2, which is fret 2. So different notes. And you notice that as we use these frets, the further up we go up the guitar, the higher the pitch becomes. Fret 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, this tune that we're going to do today, Mary Had a Little Lamb, it starts on the 4th fret of the B string. So with your right hand, get your anchor point and your pick ready just to pick that one string. And with your other hand, your finger 2, making sure that it curls into the string, pushing the string down only enough so that it touches the fret, not all the way to the wood, because it will bend the sound and hurt your fingers. Just push it down to that so that it makes the sound nice and cleanly. So that's the first note. Then it's a fret 2, so move your finger down to the 2nd fret. Then an open string. Then 2, then 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 7, 7. Now, if you look on the side of your guitar, you might have some little dots or even down the fretboard. And these marks help you to quickly move to certain frets. Now, they're usually marked at fret 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12. Although, if you're playing a classical guitar, you'll probably find that it's only on frets 5, 7, and 12. Have a look at your own guitar and just use whatever dots you have, work out what the frets they're on, so that you can use them to quickly move to the frets you want to be at. So this one doesn't go any higher than fret 7. Then the second half, we have again making sure we've got our anchor point in the right hand. We have fret 4, 2, open string, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 4, 2, open string. Now to get a nice clean sound, you want to be coming up right behind the fret. If you're away from the fret, it makes this sort of sound. That's not the sound we're looking for. Getting closer to the fret makes a nice, clean sounding note that can ring out afterwards. So this is the song that I want you to have a go at today. On the sheet you'll find that there are actually 7 different songs. There's one for each string, plus an extra one for the B string. Some of them go up quite high, up as high as fret 12. But just give them a go, and for now, just using finger 1 in this hand and a pick in the other hand. Happy playing! So, I hope you enjoyed lesson 2 and picking out that single tune. Have a look at this if you didn't look at lesson 1. This is the second half of lesson 1 there. This video here though is for lesson 3, where we're going to look at some more chords, but this time minor chords. So hopefully you're getting on alright with those major chords we learned in the previous lesson. And yeah, click on that if you want to.